Hey everybody, it's X, and welcome back to another Kaldheim Premier Draft. These are back for flashback drafts this week. It's one of my favorite formats with Viking Norse mythology stuff, some snow-covered lands that you have to draft to get your snow cards working. Lots of cool things going on in the format, and we are going to start with a really cool Pack 1, Pick 1. We've got Showdown of the Skalds, a great saga. It's a 4-mana draw 4, and whenever you cast spells on Chapter 2 and 3 of the saga, you get to put +1/+1 counters on the creatures you control. So excellent card draw for a Boros aggro deck, one of the strongest aggro decks in the format. So should be nice to show off that archetype here off of Showdown of the Skalds, but there's other pretty reasonable picks like the Blizzard Brawl here, very high pick for the snow decks. If you have 3 or more snow permanents on your board, this is a +1/+0 and fight spell that also gives your creature indestructible to make sure it always wins the fight. So excellent removal for green snow decks. That would be honestly just as good of a pick as the Showdown of the Skalds, I think. For pick number 2, we have Varigoth, Bloodsky Sire as the rare. That's just a fine card. You get to set up your draws if you get multiple attacks with it, but usually you just do that like one time and trade into their 3/3 or something. The Giant's Amulet is excellent for most blue decks, but especially blue-red Giants. It's a 5 mana, 4/5 hexproof, which is a really big deal. Pretty big pickup. If it weren't for us starting with a Boros card, I'd probably be on Giant's Amulet, but starting with such a powerful Boros rare, I don't mind taking the Cull here. This is going to buff all of your equipped and enchanted creature tokens, and whenever your non-token enchanted or equipped creatures die, you put them back into your hand. So it's really good with the cards like Goldvein Pick and Tormentor's Helm and the other equipment in the format. So I like the Cull a lot here. The Story Seeker is also pretty great white common for aggro decks, just really hard to outrace a cheap, efficient lifelinker like that. And this is a beautiful start. Just a beautiful start. Start with a Boros rare, grab the Boros Signpost uncommon, and get another card that functions perfectly in a Boros Aura's deck. The Runeforged Champion makes you want to draft runes really highly, but there is one uncommon rune in every color in this format. It's a 2-mana aura that lets you enchant an equipment or a creature to give that creature +1/+1 trample or death touch or like +1/+1 lifelink, or give the equipped creature those bonuses. So if we go Boros here and we draft some equipment, the Runeforged Champion tutors out a good rune, lets us play it for only 1 mana to make our equipment even better, and when you play the rune, you draw a card too. So Runeforged Champion is just excellent in this archetype, and it's kind of the perfect thing to get past because it means that these players on our right are not that interested in white that early. Good sign for white. Pick 4 is not a great sign for white. I mean, the common is still here, the God's Guardian, but that card sucks. But that could just mean there were no good white cards in the pack, because just the rare is gone and some commons. Take a Breakneck Berserker, Tuscary Firewalker, Craven Holker Guardian. These are all pretty filler. Firewalker can potentially boast and draw you some cards. Usually it just trades off immediately into a 2/2. Breakneck Berserker can get some quick damage in, but usually just trades off immediately into a 2/2. And the beefier, like high toughness stuff isn't really what you want in Boros. You just want to be pretty aggressive. We could start on all dwarfs here just in case we open up a Magda. It's probably more cute than anything, and Firewalker's probably a little better than the Breakneck Berserker. But if we do open up Magda, there is one rare in the format that cares about dwarves specifically, so buffing all of our dwarfs could be kind of sweet. Pick 5, we've got Giant Ox, which can crew the Colossal Plow all by itself. Cute little 2-card combo there. Pretty weak pack. The best card, I think, is Snakeskin Veil by quite a bit. Just a great way to stop removal spells, but that's very far from what we're doing. Luckily, though, there's nothing really that good outside of the Veil for other colors. Blue's getting a slightly better card than we'd be getting. Black's getting a slightly better card than we're getting here. But I don't feel like this is a really clear sign that we're in the wrong direction. It's more just a kind of weak pack at this point. We'll take the Master Skald here. Potential way to pick up an artifact or enchantment in the late game. Okay, pick 6 Nico. I really don't want to play blue-white. I think it's one of the weakest archetypes in the format, and we have two excellent Boros rares, as well as even our mono white rare being particularly good in Boros. So I'm just going to take Story Seeker, sticking to white aggro here, and hope that people see Nico as more of a sign towards blue in particular than white in particular. But we could get a little bit cut off of white next pack, because a pick 7 Nico is certainly a sign. Just kind of a huge card draw, sort of card advantage play. It's not what we're looking for, though. We're looking for huge aggro plays like Story Seeker and Wings of the Cosmos, deceptively strong. +1/+3 flying untap for 1 mana. That is just enough random nonsense for just 1 mana that the combat trick plays pretty well. There's also some great aggro cards in the format in black and white that care about casting 2 spells in 1 turn. So a 1 mana combat trick is a good way to trigger those at instant speed. So Wings of the Cosmos, way better than it looks. And super happy to get it this late. We can get a second copy here, but you don't want to run infinite combat tricks, and Frenzied Raider is another card that potentially pops off. If you have good boast abilities, those are abilities you can activate after attacking, and this just keeps getting bigger. 2 mana creature that could end up attacking as like a 4/4 or 5/5 in the late game. So I'm just going to take the Frenzied Raider to curve out with. And we can probably get another Wings of the Cosmos later with the way this draft is looking. This is all filler nonsense for everybody. Nobody's going to be excited about this pack. Just take the random Warhorn Blast or the Seize the Spoils. Pick 10, random Snowland just in case. We're not going to play a 7-drop since we're aggro. Shield Mate and Code Spell Cleric are both decent. Even the Raven Wings, technically. Getting flying in the late game can be good. Like, we'd ideally run better equipment, like the Gold Vein Axe, but if we don't end up with enough other equipment, we want some kind of filler equipment here. I feel like Shield Mate's a little bit above filler level, though, especially when you have an equipment-based deck. A 2/1 that trades off and leaves another creature behind, another creature you can equip and make sure that that creature also stays relevant. This feels pretty decent. Okay, I don't need Smashing Success or Warhorn Blast too much, so I'm going to speculate on Giant Ox. Most of the time, we just don't run this. But if you get the Colossal Plow, it actually is a really fun combo. Because crewing a Colossal Plow early can be nasty. It's like a 6/3 that gives you 3 mana every time you attack with it or something. It's insane. Certainly not playing Revitalize for a much slower deck. Doomscar, though. Well, there's almost no cost to speculating on Doomscar here. I mean, we'll play it. If our opponent ever gets ahead, we can Doomscar and try to reset the game, but this is infinitely better in control than aggro, and there are going to be multiple games. When we're ahead and keeping the pressure on our opponent, and we top deck a Doomscar, it's going to be rough, because those are the kinds of positions where just drawing another creature or a combat trick could end the game on the spot. And instead, we draw Doomscar, and it's just going to sit in our hand for like 5 or 6 turns and only become relevant if we start losing. So it's real awkward in aggro. I don't want to downplay that. The problem is there's really nothing else to take. We'd just be taking a good common, like Raven Wings or the Alpine Meadow, I guess, for fixing. So we'll take it, and we'll probably end up running it unless our deck becomes really, really streamlined. Pack 2, pick 2, Battlefield Raptor, one of the best cheap creatures to equip. We still have like no equipment, but there's some Tormentor's Helms flying around here, some Raven Wings. We can take the equipment on the wheel most likely. Shimmerger fails great fixing. Really high pick for the snow decks. Got a Boros land again, a Fearless Liberator that plays well with the Frenzied Raider. Or a Squash, because we have literally no removal right now. Kind of feel like I need the Squash here. It's going to be awkward in a deck without Giants, but still a 5-mana removal spell. It's removal nonetheless. There's also the Tormentor's Helm. But again, there's so many equipment getting opened up, we should be wheeling some of these. Starnheim Courser makes the equipment a little cheaper, or Firewalker potentially draws us a card or 2. I also think that Flyers just play pretty decently in the format as well. Plus, this makes the Shadow of the Scalds cheaper too. Yeah, that's kind of sweet. Oh yeah, and Master Scald can pick up Showdown of the Scalds too. It's any artifact or equipment, doesn't have to be auras. Sure. Take the Starnheim Courser. Good black removal spells recently, but we'll just take another Wings of the Cosmos. Another Breakneck Berserker. Shimmerger fails basically Evolving Wilds. Not too important of a pickup for a 2-color aggro deck, but really good for the snow decks. The snow player's really happy seeing all these lands come from this direction. Another Story Seeker for sure, get curving out. Pick 8. Here's where we start wheeling all of the equipment and really filling the deck out. We probably won't wheel all of them, but we'll wheel some of them because nobody should be playing like 6 equipment in their deck. Their Master Scald. You know what's really sad? Actually, the Runeforge Champion generally an absolutely fantastic card, but you do need 1 rune to go with it, and we have not opened up a single rune. I'll take the Craven Hulk just for squash value. If somebody else is somehow on Boros, I'm going to be pretty pretty sad. Especially because, like, how do they take all these equipment? You cannot run, like, 6 equipment in your deck, even if you are the dedicated Boros build. You only need a few. Back, like, 1 Tormentor's Helm here, please. Well, on the plus side, pack number 3 is when we're going to get passed by the same players that passed us cards in pack 1. So pack number 3 is where we should get passed from the same player that passed us a Runeforge Champion and a Nico and stuff like that. So pack 3 we should get the red or the white cards really. Shackles is actually playable. It's not great, but playable. All right. Currently we don't need the Snowland at all. Final pack, we can 100% use this pack to just improve our deck, so it's a good spot to be in, but there's a lot of filler cards we'd like to replace, like Blast, Shackles, maybe even Doomscar ideally. Some of these creatures could get a lot better. This curve could get better. Yeah, definitely some improvements to be made in our final pack. We really need to find a rune for the Runeforge Champion as well. So let's see what we got. Pack number 3. We did not find a rune. The Giants player is living in Magical Christmas Land. This is a just completely busted board wipe for a Giants deck because it's a one-sided board wipe and a bunch of card draw attached. A Scry 3, draw 2, discard a card. Battle of Frost and Fire, one of the strongest rares in the format. So sad day. We aren't the Giants player. I think we're on Starnheim Courser here. 2 copies of Cole would be really awkward, and we're on like 1 equipment right now, so the first copy isn't even that exciting. And again, we just never want to draw duplicates together. Pack 3, pick 2, no runes. There's a Run Amok for a great combat trick. Basalt Ravager with the right creatures on board is a good enter the battlefield effect. We've got enough dwarfs. The Basalt Ravager might be okay. 8 dwarves, yeah. It's got a great ATB effect. We'll take it over Iron Verdict, really. Yeah. Yeah, white-based equipment decks are open on the right. We're in the correct archetype for what we're getting past. It's just pack 2 because we're getting passed from a player on our left. Whoever's on our left hopping into equipments is so weird because we kind of scooped up the good stuff for that deck. But they're definitely in the same deck as us, the player on our left. There we go, Rune of Speed. Perfect. All you need is 1 rune to go with the Runeforge Champion to guarantee you can always draw the 1 card off of it when you play it. The only way it doesn't work out is if your rune's already on the board. If it's in your graveyard, if it's in your library, you're going to get it. But if you already played it onto the board and it's still there, then Runeforge Champion is sad. Alright, we got the rune. Still really low on removal. Would not mind a second squash here. Playing double Craven Hulk, 1 Basalt Ravager. Yeah. Pick 6. Not very exciting. Get another Berserker, I guess. Pick 7, another Battlefield Raptor. Or a Shimmer Drift Veil. I have 1 equipment. 2 equipment. We can play Sword of the Realms instead of Halvar. I guess that's the plan, probably, right? Yeah, Battlefield Raptor with a Sword of the Realms on it is kind of nuts. But I guess anything with a Sword of the Realms on it is kind of insane. Already got double Wings of the Cosmos. Don't know how much room I have for more combat tricks. Yeah, we'll take a Fearless Liberator on this one. Pick 9. Get the 3 mana Boaster to also go with the Frenzied Raider. Or another Giant. If I cut those, still need to cut a few more cards. Some 2s and 3s, I guess. Ah, there we go. Raven Wings. 3 equipment total. That should be enough here. Shame it's in the same pack as Run Amok. I think Run Amok's a pretty good combat trick. But that additional equipment is going to be very, very relevant. Yeah, I don't know how we actually want to finish this deck up here. Probably cut a land. Some amount of 3 mana cards. We could cut all the Berserkers here. And I'm keeping all the Boasters in the deck to get Frenzied Raider maybe working, and keeping all the 2-drops to keep the curve as aggressive as possible. That feels fine. Halvar might be a 4-drop finisher. If I have another equipment on board, I probably just play Halvar and do the double strike hits. And if I don't, then I play Halvar as the equipment. Depends how things are going. I really do think... Why doesn't it let me drag? I really think that our deck is aggressive enough. We probably shouldn't be on Doomscar, because again, it is so disastrous as a draw when you're just so close to pushing in the lethal. It's so bad in that position. And obviously when the board state's even, it's pretty bad. It's just good when you're behind, but it is insane when you're behind on board. Yeah, sorry Doomscar enjoyers in the chat. I am Doomscar's biggest hater. We're gonna go land Doomscar, 5-drop. And one last cut. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 aggro creatures. 17 creatures total. We can drop 1, still be at 16. One of the Hulks would be reasonable. I like them with the double squash. But you can't always have it all. Yeah, I'm gonna drop 1 Hulk. We'll go for this nice aggressive Boros curve, hop into the gameplay, and see how it does. Alright, here we are on the play for game 1. The curve is not great, but we're on the play to make up for it. No creatures till turn 3 is not going to happen super often for this deck. We have 2 1-drops and 7 2-drops, I think. So, a little tragic to be starting slow, but at least the cards we have are high impact. The Runeforged Champion and the Basalt Ravager and the Master Scald all being pretty great. We've even got a Giant for the squash. We are playing against Blue-Red Giants. There's a matchup where we would really appreciate the early aggro, but I suppose that's every matchup. There's our 2-drop right off curve. You hate to see it. Alright, draw a card, show us a Mistwalker. That is a huge roadblock that we'll have to squash soon enough. Dwarf Warrior, Giant Wizard, Demon Berserker. We are not lining up at all for our Basalt Ravager right now. play Raider. Haste it. Raptor, haste it. Let's go Raptor, haste it. Have slightly more mana open post-combat. Deal 2. Tormentor's Helm, you say? Play that instead of the Raider. No, I'm probably playing the Raider here. Getting wide. Alright, not bad at all. Would have been nice to have the Helm before the rune, so that we just make the Helm better instead of the creature better. Because now if the Raptor dies, the rune is in the grave, but we do have the Scald to combo there. Exile the Raptor from our grave to pick up the rune to replay it again later. If our Raptor dies, which might be the case against double Mistwalker there. Okay. No matching creature types still, and nobody to go with the giant wizard. So I get to Tormentor's Helm. Tormentor's Helm makes it so Raptor can still attack it and they can't kill it. The only way they could kill it is if they buff one of the Mistwalkers, in which case I first strike away that Mistwalker. So yeah, Helm buff and a Story Seeker. I guess I could put this Helm anywhere, and anything attacking as a 3/3 trades into a Mistwalker if they double block. And I think no matter how I play this out, I get like 1 damage in there. Because they're just going to block with a 1/4. The Raptor. Well, I have 2 dwarves now for a post-combat Ravager, but I'm playing against 4 open mana. And if I put a Ravager on the field, it's going to die to the Frostpire. Their Surtland Frostpire land does 2 damage to everything, which is pretty nasty. Luckily, thanks to the equipment, only 2 of my creatures are going to die. Still kind of gross. So my options are to play a Ravager post-combat or play literally nothing this turn when I'm the aggro player and stuck on mana. I think I just attack all. The concern of them getting a free kill on a 2/2 is not as big of a concern now. Well, no, they get 2 free kills. Shoot. If they tap out, they get 2 free kills, and then they're tapped out and Basalt Ravager kills a Mistwalker. Yeah. But yeah, them putting like 2 Mistwalkers on 1/2/2 is not a problem. Yeah, so they are really just planning on Frostpire, it looks like. They don't go for any kills there. To just pass? Require double red? Nope, double blue. So the Frostpire is playable off of any basic. I can kill a Mistwalker. But then they blow up my Ravager. I guess that's 1 for 1. And they only have 1 blocker left post Frostpire. Yeah, I mean, this is probably just trading into a counterspell, but we have to get the counterspell out of the way too. Maybe not, maybe not. All right, land Frostpire. They're down to 1 Mistwalker. We send in for 3. Was not expecting this. Was not expecting this at all. This is much different. Let's So we actually get to keep our giant and have a squash here. They've got a green source up now, though, if they have a Snakeskin Veil. I imagine we still have to squash pre-combat to see if it resolves or not, and then see if we can send in the whole team, send in the 2/2s against the 3/3. Disdainful Strokes. Yes, they did have a Disdainful Stroke, which is now gone. Could move my equipment to the Basalt Ravager so Agar doesn't get to trade plus draw a card here, but I doubt Agar wants to trade. And yeah, it doesn't want to trade. There is no universe in which I'm playing this Raptor out against the Frostpire. This was usable, right? Yeah, that was usable last turn. Wings of the Cosmos could find its way into lethal or save something from a Frostpire. Both of those are pretty relevant. Everybody's potentially dying to a Frostpire anyway. Let's send in the squad and just see what happens. I probably should have sent in the Runeforge champion as well at this point. Just sneaking more damage in. Even though they just like Agar block there. Kill a Mistwalker, deal 5 is honestly so fine. Six damage. Exactly enough against the wings. Gross. Alright, well, we'll kill Agar. Oh, they're tapped out. Get somebody else out of reach of the Frostpire. Bergstrider. Stun the Story Seeker. This mana is not going swimmingly. Set that thing up. They don't have life gain in their deck. Could theoretically chump attack 5 times. The problem is they're playing green at least a little bit, so they could have the big green life gainer. Sword of the Realms is going to make it so we can just spend all of our mana to equip somebody and then attack with that creature each turn and send in like a 5/3, trade it off, put it back in hand, send in a 5/3, trade it off, put back in hand. It's going to be a grindy way to kill them, but it's more of a guarantee than hoping for the white source for double strike. Yeah, the Bergstriders are annoying, but we can just move all the equipment to somebody else and still get the attack in. We can still do the thing. All right, take 2. And here we go. 5 power, do the thing. Work our way through their blockers and keep chipping in for 1 each time we do. Everyone's out of reach of the Frostpire. Another blocker that's just going to get swapped out. get sorted off the board. Bold attack. And they do have hexproof. Showdown is kind of sweet. Likely on that. Attack both, put them to 1 if they block champion. They go to 1 either way. Yeah, put them to 1 Showdown of the Scalds, and then just kill them with literally any creature. Just put Helm on anything and attack with that and win. Cool. Just want a plains in the top 4. Sick. Goodbye, Raptor. We still have the Runeforge champion for lethal. And that's the concession from our opponent. Tormentor's Helm, that chip damage helps get there, but of course, Showdown of the Scalds and our Mythic Sword putting in most of the work. We start things off 1-0 heading into Game 2. Alright, here we are for Game 2. Story Seeker as a 2-drop on curve is going to be a great start. The double squash, a little expensive, and the Rune of Speed in the opener, making our Runeforge champion worse if we ever draw it, is sad. So there's a lot of awkward stuff going on in the hand, but I do like having a 2-drop turn 2. That part is nice. But the early Rune of Speed is likely to get picked up by a late game Scald, which will be good. Alright, blue-white from our opponent, playing it nice and slow, just planning it out. Play the board first here. Get 2 more power on board instead of just 1 more. Especially when if we top deck like a Tormentor's Helm or something, that's going to be a really good target for the Rune of Speed. We did not, but Cole also makes Rune of Speed super exciting. It's going to be the 5 damage to a tapped creature. No, it's going to be the bounce spell. All right. This means if I top deck any land, I can Story Seeker plus Rune of Speed in the same turn, and that'll be wonderful. There's an Inga. They trade Inga off, that's only 2 creatures dying, and that is not going to be profitable. So come on, basic land. Being able to Story Seeker Rune of Speed would be a wonderful turn. Excellent. Excellent turn. Gearing up to squash an Inga pretty soon. Foretell from our opponent. A deal 5 to a tapped or something like that. We'll see. Don't really have a play other than attack with Story Seeker. Ooh, the bounce against the rune is pretty tragic. Let's fly over the Inga. Sick. Show me the counterspell. They do not have one. They can probably only kill one of our creatures here. Or none of them. That works too. Ah, I see. The Doomscar it is. It's here to hate on me for not running it. Fair enough. Scroll back our Runa Speed when they see it coming. If I top deck a land, I can play Scald and Runa Speed to Scald next turn, which is pretty wild. This might be wrong, but I'm going to go for the element of surprise. Rune of Speed. Potentially just play a 5/4 haste next turn. If we miss the land drop, we'll just squash their blocker. Thank goodness, that is exactly in reach of Squash. Squash is so good, so much damage for red removal. I mean, imagine it as 4 and a black, destroy target creature. That would be just okay removal. So I guess not quite as good as I was saying there, but when you cast it for 2 mana, really stupid. So there we go. We are officially 2-0, heading into game number 3. Some great stuff from the Boros equipment deck. Here we are for game number 3. We've managed to squeak by undefeated so far with a decent Boros aggro deck. See how far we can keep it up here. Not the greatest curve ever. Story Seeker and then nothing till turn 4, but we can get some of the mana investment for the Raven Wings out of the way. Playing against black and green. That can be an elf deck that has some cards that benefit from the number of elves on board or whenever you attack with an elf or anything like that. But it could also just be general green-black good stuff. If it tends to go in that direction, generally ends up being more snow-focused, more snow-oriented, with some dual lands, some snow lands, and some snow mana payoffs. But they did start with a changeling, and we've seen no duels, no snow lands of any kind. This feels pretty elfy to me. I'll trade into a combat trick here. We get a 1/1 out of the deal. Or I'll trade into a little 2/2 elf. That works too. It's the Boreal Outrider. No snow sources yet. Interesting. Well, we'll play the Story Seeker over the Raven Wings. This is going to give me 2 options here. Oh, it's a Dwarf Cleric. It's not a warrior. Shoot. And this is not a dwarf. It's a human warrior. Dang it. I was going to say this gives me 2 options here where next turn I can Raven's Wings equip and attack with a Flying Lifelinker, or I can Ravager the Outrider for 2. Doesn't actually give me that second option because none of the creature types on these 3 creatures match, sadly. Alright, Glittering Frost, so they've got the snow mana for the Outrider now to get those +1/+1 counters. The Elder Fang Disciple is the play. Goodbye land 5. It's going to be a little sad for Scald, but we can wait on the Scald a little bit. Call the Forge Master. It's going to make the Raven Wings very strong. It's also a Dwarf to work our Ravager up to 2 damage. So I could play Raven Wings, Call, pass, start getting the damage in next turn, or get a good Basalt Ravager enter effect. Definitely tricks. I'm just going to not block here since we have the Ravager coming up. We need the dwarves on board, and the 1/1 human warrior doesn't do really anything on blocks. Hopefully they just tap out for a Lindworm or something. Ooh, Lord. Wow. 7/6 trample whenever we target any of their permanents they draw a card. Which includes the Basalt Ravager ability. Well, rip. Ravaging the Outrider no longer really looks profitable at all. Still the best play. Kill that and hopefully turn it into like a land here. Feels better than just getting 3 flying damage in right now. Yeah, I think we're just going to get absolutely domed by this Mythic. This Battle Mammoth seems absurd. Well, we'll see. We do have 2 squashes in the deck. Those could kill the Mammoth, but they would draw a second card off of it when we go for the squash. Nice little 3-for-1. Also going to jam in for 7 this turn. No universe in which we can block. They were already attacking like they had good tricks last turn, and tricks go even worse when they have a giant trampler to cast them on. Kind of just need the squash. Halvar could work too. Flying double strike lifelink can get there. So making our equipment also give double strike and equipping for free would be a big one. Turn upon the tide with an elf. Yeah, I think they got us here. I think they got us. Let's guarantee I gain some life here. They can't removal spell the Story Seeker to put it back in my hand and stop me from gaining life on blocks. Let's see how we're dying. Okay, no, I can't block with everybody. If I block with everybody, 1 removal spell kills the Ravager and then kills my whole board. So we have to block with the exact right blocks so that if they don't have a trick or removal, we kill it. And if they do, we don't lose our whole board, at least. It really doesn't matter in the long run unless they don't have a trick, though. Which they pretty clearly have something. Okay, Mammoth Grove. Sure, at least we didn't die. We would have died if we didn't block. Probably die regardless here. Yeah, Mammoth gets there. 3, 2. 2-1 it is, heading into game number 4. All right, here we are for game number 4. We got a real nice curve here, but we are on the draw on this one. Oh, there's the showdown. Yeah, this is a banger hand. Once we run out of stuff to do, drop a showdown, but we've got plenty to do until then. Just all the rares, why don't you? My lord. We are not going to have the mana to boast with this card for a long time. So this is just like, if we get board wipes, we'll toss that out later. But till then, we are dumping our mana into all this stuff. I guess if I miss a land drop, we can just play a 2-1 instead. The next card. Ooh, but it plays real bad against that. That's 4 1/1s off 1 card. Yeah, so very happy to hit the land here. Play the champion. Champion finds us the rune that draws us another card towards land 4 for our big plays. But if we naturally draw land 4, then it also means we get to play a 3-drop and haste it out. So yeah, this is 4 1/1s for 3 mana. If they have any other token production, it can be even better than that. Oh no, not the Clarion Spirit Wombo combo. Yep, Clarion Spirit, one of the mythic uncommons of the format. And insanely good with Battle for Bredegard to get them the next 1/1 flyer as well. Alright, we did miss the land drop, which is quite bad here. So, into Rune of Speed. just to cycle towards land 4. But I want to hold up Wings of the Cosmos for this combat. Who gets the +1 here? +1 power. Because I can't like play Liberator and speed it out with Wings up. Unless speed finds a planes exactly. Feels unlikely. When in doubt, let's buff the flyer. Okay. Now I can play Liberator and Wings here. Sure. This is a reasonable trade. I guess the fact that they didn't play any tricks in response to first strike damage means they don't have any, so I'll go ahead and do that. Didn't want to play tricks before them, though, because then if they had Snakeskin Veil... Wait, no. 1 green mana. Snakeskin Veil doesn't do it. We still eat the spirit if they have Snakeskin Veil. Fall of the Imposter. It's another great spell, right? 2 +1/+1 counters, and then they exile the biggest creature off of our board. They still don't have good blocks in the sky. So they go ahead and get an attack in here. I almost want to showdown into mana. Into my land drops here. End of your next turn. Feels like the best I have. Okay. Those were not good hits. Hulk and Courser are just pretty expensive. Guess the Wings isn't bad here. Let's just send in the squad. Although Wings would obviously be more profitable later when we get the +1/+1 counter off of it, but we have plenty of other spells to play and not enough mana to do everything we want anyway. Imagine killing 3 of their creatures. Yeah, killing every single one of these creatures and saving Champion is better than just saving Story Seeker. Clearing out the board. Oh, they sequenced that wrong to miss out on the 2 points of life gain. Cole the Forge Master. Knockdown creature control dies. Not gets exiled. Okay, whoever I put the counters on is at risk of dying to Fall of the Imposter here. Liberator I'd be fine with. Champion, I believe I'd be fine with. Yeah, let's just keep the flyers. If they can double block Champion, I'll kill Usher and then have them exile Liberator. If they do that. Alright, Liberator is indeed exiled. Another Clarion Spirit. Very nice. They don't have the double spell to go with it this time, it looks like, though. That is good for us. Yep, they're going to go for the Usher Boast here. No blocks. If we can just get past their flyers, we're going to kill them pretty quick here. So we're just going to throw counters onto our flyers and play more of them. Flyer. Counter there. And there's the concession from our opponent. They are already over it. That is 3 and 1, guaranteeing at least a 50-50 run out of this deck. So some pretty sweet stuff. All right, here we are for game 5. I think we're even on the play here, which is going to be sweet. Got a Story Seeker, the Starnheim Courser. Courser makes it so it only costs 1 to play the wings. The Raven Wings, not the Wings of the Cosmos. That one already costs 1. So pretty good hand to get us started with. Black-white dual land from our opponent to start it off. It is also a snow land, so it doesn't necessarily mean they're a black-white deck. It could definitely be some kind of 5-color snow soup, or any multicolored pile. Yeah, there's the ice tunnel. Two to equip, right? Yeah, perfect mana here. Avalanche Caller is kind of strong. Avalanche Caller strong enough here. I want to see if they take the bait. We kill it with wings. Sick. The one flaw with that play is it very clearly shows our opponent exactly what we have. Like, it's super obvious if they expect me to be playing right, but you can always assume maybe your opponent's just being lazy, and maybe I was lazy and put on the wrong creature. So they assumed that was a possibility and got crushed for it. Alright, I can't do everything here. This is the other problem with that, is that now I have to move this around to actually get all the flying damage in, which means I don't have the mana for the Raptor this turn, but I think it was worth it to kill the Caller. The card is really threatening. Okay, Pilfering Hawk does not block well. It blocks the Liberator fine, which makes putting Raven Wings on it a little less exciting. It's a good draw. Guess I get 2 for 1 if they blow up the Raptor in response to this. It is not lovely. Alright, max damage. They're down to 3. Raise the Draugr, pick up the Avalanche Caller. We're at 31 life, so not worried about the crackback, just worried about how many blockers they can establish. And Avalanche Caller doesn't put anything in the sky. Get some hexproofing 4/4 lands on the ground. All of the mana up. Pre-combat wings might be a thing, but try to use it as a trick here. After more of their mana is tapped when they hold all 5 up. Sigrid, exile an attacker or blocker. Yeah, that card is broken in half. It's got first strike as well. To just freely eat somebody here. Incredible card. They have 2 mana left? Probably just jump in the sky pre-blocks then, right? Unless they've got the double trick. This is lethal. There's an argument to still wait, because then Sigrid blocks the Liberator and we kill the Sigrid and get our thing back. But if a Wings of the Cosmos is going to resolve here, better to make it resolve in a way where they literally die. Because if they have a trick to stop us from doing this and killing them, it would also stop us from doing it to kill Sigrid. Like if they have bounce, put a creature back in hand, they could just do that to Liberator. In response to me trying to kill Sigrid with Liberator. Yeah, so if they have that, this plays a little better. They go to 1 here. One life, no flying blockers, 2 flying attackers thanks to Raven Wings. Actually, just don't boast here so that we have 3 flying attackers. Because then I just equip Wings to Liberator and attack with 3 things in the sky. This is what I mean with the Liberator, where I'm not that high on it. Because the vast majority of the time, it's just a 2-mana 2-1. There's so many reasons that you might be needing to use your mana on just other stuff anyway. And even when you do have the mana for it, you also need to be able to get the profitable attacks in, which is hard. All right, 4-1, 1,400 gems, so we're at the break-even point no matter what. But if we can win any more games, we'll be in the money out of this draft. All right, on the play for game 6. Really strong hand, but we need to hit some lands here. Having a 4-drop and a 5-drop in it is a little sketchy. Top deck another 4-drop. Well, we're running out of really expensive cards to draw into, at least. Battlefield Raptor is the draw. That's a pretty bad one. Imagine we play mana efficient here and play the Wings. Maybe it's better to just play the Sword of the Realms. Start trying to get those attacks in. Agar. Oh. I'm confident this hand was a keep, but if we don't draw any lands in the first 3 turns like we have, our opponent certainly has a great shot this game. Alright, we hit a land on turn 4. Actually, I think it's turn 5, maybe. Either way. I think we're just praying to play Halvar and just start double strike flying and get a quick kill. 6 damage a swing if we get Halvar down. Basic? Nope. Runeforge isn't bad in theory. But we just lose this race now without Halvar. Our blocks kind of suck too. Alright. I think if we missed one less land drop, we would win this game, but as it stands, this is going to be removal on champion, die. Still our best bet, because this could lead into a lethal crackback next turn. I just don't think we get a next turn at this rate. No pre-combat removal means we might get a next turn. Well, they can have like a run amok here and then we don't. If they have the deal 2, we also don't, no matter what. So we chump Berg Strider, still die to deal 2. Actually, that's not quite true. Barely survive. Okay, if I hit a basic, they lose. Man. This would have been the lethal turn. We set up for it. We took the risk, we gambled, and still lost because we didn't hit the land here. Because they go block. 6, 7, 8. I guess no. No, it is lethal, because Halvar would move our equipment over at the beginning of combat. So beginning of combat, we move the wings to the Firewalker. That's 8 guaranteed damage in the sky, and one of these two gets in on the ground. Oh, we had straight lethal off of any land in the deck. Just looking things over here, but I'm pretty confident there's literally nothing we can do now this way. Can have 10 power on board, but I can't get through the Arcanist anyway. That's so disappointing. Four attackers. Foretold card. Need at least 4 blockers. I just have to chump with like my whole board. There's not even like a counterplay here. It's just lose the board. That is not a land either. Target equipment. Okay, let's do that then. If it doesn't move all the stuff, it just moves one target. All right, we're once again dead to removal. But now we literally don't even have a choice of trying to get a lethal attack next turn. Okay. Anybody that can block without dying? Yeah, champion can. That's it. That's it. Everybody else is in the chump zone. And now we hit them to 1 if we hit the land, but they're not dead. Hit them to 1. Tragic. Oh, I can't even move the wings. It has to be currently attached. Well, it still stands that Halvar would have been lethal a turn ago. Sad game. 4-2 it is, heading into game 7. Oh man. Another incredibly powerful hand on the play here, but it has got to hit a couple land drops. And it just hits 4 drops, man. Not like this. That's a strong 4 drop, but it's a 4 mana spell. Alright, there we go. We got land 3 on curve so far, much better than last game. That land 3 being super pivotal to getting the champion down and drawing us a card towards land 4. Gold Mod champion from our opponent, and there's land 4. You love to see it. You love to see it. Show down the Scalds here. Runa speed. Could Halvar with no double strike going anywhere. Kind of want a showdown. I've got a really cheap play for next turn. I just play a 1-drop and get the counter. Yeah, so we're going to go land, Courser, 1-drop, double counter next turn. Horizon Seeker. All right, we should have, ooh, especially with Wings of the Cosmos, we should have really excellent attacks here. Boop that. Oh, it's 0 with these two together. Ooh, that's pretty sweet. Should add a tiny bit more white. Guess I should have went double red in one. Yeah, I think I auto-tapped it, but I may have just played the wrong mana there in the first place as well. All right, let's send in the party and get ready for Wings of the Cosmos. It's not incredible, but it's decent. Certainly keep our threat. That's Wings. Boop. Oh, we do kill both because the showdown. Oh my god. All right, that's gross. All right, 1 second. Counter on everything. There's one flyer. Should probably just counter everybody up and draw Palvar for double strike. Yeah. Okay, that kind of seems absurd. All right, sick. All right, well, that is 5 and 2 with this Boros equipment deck. Pretty sweet run, but I am going to have to end it a bit early here. I've got to get headed out to MagicCon Vegas literally right now. So that is going to end today's video. But as always, I'd like to thank my patrons and YouTube members for supporting the channel, as well as you for watching the video. If you enjoyed this video and you'd like to see more, you can like, comment, and subscribe to tell the YouTube algorithm to send you some more in your recommended feed. If you'd like to catch me live, you can check out the Twitch channel in the link in the description below. If you'd like to support the channel directly, check out the Patreon link in the description below. But other than that, as always, thank you very much for watching, and I will see you again soon for some more Magic Arena.